What's happening, y'all? This came from one of my subs. This question was concerning the COVID-19 effects in the Amish community. And took me a little time to kind of dig into it and read up on the effects that it was having on the Amish community. But I found that on the internet and all over the place and social media that pretty much people have been claiming that there have been no serious effects in the Amish community, and they live a natural life and eat healthy, and the usual things that people are saying to try to avoid being vaccinated. And what I found was interesting, and we'll take a look at that just a second after these messages.
Welcome to the Abuki Cabal Show.
In a world overrun with the fake, delusional, and disingenuous, he stands as a beacon of truth. He is Abuki Cabal. You are listening to Abuki Cabal.
So I guess the first one we're going to get into, and let me back up. I want to thank everybody for continue to hang in there with me. And when you guys get tired of this information, you let me know, and we can move on to something else. I'll try to bounce around to different medical topics, science, research. Things that are relevant to our community, or just things that you're just interested in, and we'll take a dive into it, talk about it, and see what we can find out together. Learn about this part of our world and how we can make it better and interact with it in a way that is beneficial to us, instead of avoiding it and not utilizing science and medicine to benefit us, and living a head in the sand kind of life. It's not beneficial to us. So the first story I'm going to go ahead and dip into is this one by Reuters that did a fact check on whether the Amish communities have been affected by COVID-19, by the COVID-19 pandemic. And we'll just dig in there. So, says here that the claims on social media that the Amish population has not been affected by COVID-19 are false. Such claims have been used to suggest that vaccines are futile. One graphic shared widely on Instagram and Facebook reads, "Remember the virus that wiped out the entire Amish community because they don't vaccinate their children? Yeah, me neither." Examples of the post can be found, and they've got links where you can go and find this, and I will attach this to the video in the description. Vaccines are worthless. They have never worked. It's a sick there, a control mechanism, a way to weed out the weak DNA. One of the individuals, sick DNA, one of the individuals commented. "Be more like them," another added. Similar posts were also shared widely in September 2020. Examples of those can be found here, and here. The Amish are a Christian sect of around 350,000 people. who live much as their ancestors did when they migrated to the United States from Europe in the 18th and 19th centuries. Famously reclusive, they are known for eschewing cars and other modern technologies. Pretty much they ride around in wagons and they still farm in a way that is, traditional. They wear like straw hats and pretty basic clothing. The women wear bonnets and older looking dresses, and they pretty much stick to themselves. And it's a small community. They don't really embrace, modernism as we know it on the outside of their communities. I guess is a good way to explain it. But if you want to know more about the Amish community, just Google it. Watch a video on YouTube. It'll explain it to you. It's not that difficult. Famously reclusive. Okay. There is also very little data on COVID-19 in the Amish communities. However, this does not mean they have been unaffected. A study released by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in November 2020 analyzed an outbreak of the virus in the rural Amish community of Wayne County, Ohio. The county is part of the Greater Holmes County Area Settlement, which is home for 36,955 people, the large Amish population in the state, largest. The research found 7 members of the community tested positive for COVID-19 in May 2020. This prompted an additional 30 people to get tested, with 23, in parentheses, 77% returning positive results. That's not good, y'all. Not good. Okay. Social gatherings, important in the Amish community, likely contributed to the rapid transmission of the SARS-CoV-2. The report said, Dr. Kimberly Thompson, a global health expert and president of the Risk and Disease Modeling Organization, Kid Risk Inc., told Reuters, everybody can be affected by the pandemic. The extent by which you are affected as an individual does depend on what is happening in your community and how much you are mixing with everybody is potentially infectable. She added, the difference in the United States is that some may not be vaccinated at the same rates as we are seeing in other communities, and for that reason, they will remain vulnerable. Vaccine hesitancy among the Amish communities has been well documented. Here, and here. A study released in February also concluded the Amish may be at risk for low uptake of a COVID-19 vaccine. And they have a link there for you to dig into that a little bit more. Virus outbreaks among the Amish communities have also been noted prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. For example, measles has been declared eradicated in the U.S. since 2000. However, outbreaks are still known to occur here, which is in the Amish communities. I want to say it was 2014 that they had a huge outbreak of the measles in that community, and they did get vaccinated. So, okay, let's go on. In 2014, the United States recorded, okay, there it is. In 2014, the United States recorded its highest caseload of measles in 2 decades. A study by the CDC details how 2 unvaccinated Amish men contracted measles while traveling, along with the subsequent epidemiological response here and here. Says we have in the United States seen outbreaks of polio and measles historically in the Amish community, despite very high vaccination rates in the rest of the country. And that's also true in the Netherlands, where the undervaccinated religious populations have been susceptible to outbreaks. Thompson said, it would be a mistake to think that they are somehow protected. Okay, so the verdict of this look into whether it was affecting, COVID was affecting the Amish community, is false. The Amish community have not been unaffected by the COVID-19 pandemic. This article was produced by the Reuters fact-checked team. Okay, give them credit for that. Okay, we can move over to another one where they talk about COVID hitting the Amish community hard on NPR. You can listen to this one if you like. I'll put that in the comments section as well. Let's see how long this one is. Maybe I can go through this one. Okay. All right. The Amish communities in Northeast Ohio engage in textbook communal living. Families eat, work, and go to church together. And through the pandemic, mask wearing and social distancing have been spotty. As a result, these communities have experienced some of the state's highest rates of infection and deaths. Nevertheless, health officials are struggling to get residents vaccinated. Holmes County, where half of the population is Amish, has the lowest vaccination rate in Ohio, with just 10% of its roughly 44,000 residents fully vaccinated. Less than 1% of the Amish have received any doses of vaccine, according to Michael Durr, the county's health commissioner. In an effort to increase the number, health officials are holding vaccination clinics in rural areas. They've also reached out to bishops and community leaders to spread the word about the safety of the vaccines. Still, few Amish residents are showing up to the health department clinics. Marcus Yoder, who lives in Holmes County, was born Amish and is now a Mennonite, and still has close ties to the Amish community. He says few Amish who are getting vaccinated are doing so privately through doctors' offices and small rural clinics, and they are keeping it to themselves. There were Amish people getting vaccination the same day I was, and we all kind of looked at each other and smiled underneath our mask and assumed that we wouldn't say that we saw them, Yoder says. He says many Amish don't want to get vaccinated because they already had COVID-19 and believe the area has reached herd immunity. Wow, we'll get into that on another show. Okay, another main driving force is misinformation about COVID itself. That it's not more serious than the flu, says Yoder, who runs a history center about the Amish and Mennonite. They're saying, well, it didn't affect me that much. Look at all these old people who survived. Okay. Some Amish residents are skeptical of the safety and effectiveness of the vaccines, and anti-vaccination conspiracy theories also spread throughout the community. There is also a lack of awareness about the more contagious variants spreading across the county, Yoder says. I think we're going to see some more cases in our community, unfortunately, because of this, he says. There simply is a lot of COVID news fatigue. They simply do not want to hear about it, and that's really unfortunate. While some of the herd immunity could explain why Holmes County has a low incidence of new cases, Durr at the health department is concerned that those who previously had the virus may not be protected. As a region, we definitely surged over the winter, and we know that happened about 90 days ago, Durr said. We're primed and ready for another surge because we're not vaccinating enough. Health officials in Indiana and Pennsylvania, which combined with Ohio account for the largest Amish communities, also are ramping up outreach in heavily Amish areas. Local health departments in Pennsylvania, Lancaster County, home to the largest Amish community in the country, are connecting with Amish bishops to try to spread the word about the vaccine. The widespread reluctance to get vaccinated in the Amish community is not surprising. to West Virginia University sociologist Rachel Stein, who studies Amish populations across the country. We as non-Amish are more on board with preventive medicine, says Stein. They certainly don't have the mindset that we need to do things to stop this from happening. Instead, she says, there's an acceptance that people will get sick and get better or not. While childhood vaccinations have increased in Ohio's Amish communities in recent years, adults are still more hesitant, she adds. There's oftentimes frequent outbreaks of whooping cough in settlements, and it's just like this is happening now. We're in whooping cough season, and so it's time to deal with this sort of thing, she says. Okay, and it talks about in 2014 when they had the measles outbreak, which spread rapidly through Ohio, largely unvaccinated Amish communities. Even after this experience, many Amish residents still chose not to vaccinate their children against other diseases. The low vaccination interest in Holmes County tracks national trends showing residents of rural areas are less likely to consider getting vaccinated. A recent poll from the Kaiser Family Foundation found 3 in 10 rural residents will definitely not get the COVID-19 vaccine unless it is mandated. Yoder says he thinks the best path forward is to encourage Amish residents who were vaccinated to talk to openly about their positive experience getting the shot. I think that hammering people for not doing it will not get us anywhere, Yoder says. Some of the local business leaders have done very, very well at saying, look, let's get the vaccination so we don't have to wear masks in the future. So we don't have to worry about social distancing as much in the future. And they've used that tact, and that has been a healthy way to approach it. Durr, the Holmes County Health Commissioner, is trying to get business owners who employ Amish workers to encourage their staff to get the shot. Officials hope eventually to hold vaccine clinics at these businesses and take the shots to them. But not every business owner is on board with that yet, he says. People are going to listen to their friends and their family, people who they interact with more, and it's going to be that telephone effect, Durr says. The more and more people we tell about it, and the better experience they have, word will get around. Okay, Durr expects more Amish will get vaccinated in the fall after the shots have been around for some time, but worries the community could see a spike in cases long before then. Okay, I've got a couple other stories here. One of them says 90% of Lancaster County's folks are infected. Okay, I've got a study up here that where Delta has well, I don't think that one's linked to that one. Maybe another story here. I have the National Institute of Health's data on the Amish community. So at the time of those stories were written, there was no data out there, but this is all the data, and you can go through it and you can see how bad it is and how bad it's been hitting that community. And I mean, it's all there. So people are still lying to people and misinforming people online and causing people to increase their risk becoming sick and possibly dying from this virus, which is unfortunate. Wow, got so much going through my head with this one. If you guys have any questions about this, just hit me up in the comments and I can address it later, maybe do a live or something, whatever you guys think. But it's been a pleasure. Hope this helps some people. I will be doing a few more of these, addressing a few other sides of the story, finding, quite a bit of stuff from day to day on this. I mean, the data just keeps changing. And I think what is striking me the most is that people want everything now. People want the data now. People want to know what the long-term effects of being vaccinated are going to be, with children, with us, now. And unfortunately, some of this stuff we're just not going to know until there's a certain degree of passage of time. And that's just the way it is. I mean, you can't know what a study is going to do before the study is done. You can't know the long-term effects of something that's been studied, that passed what it needed to pass to be utilized against an infection as a treatment method or a therapy. If you haven't had the time to pass for us to know what the long-term effects are. We'll know short-term, we'll know mid-term, and then we'll know long-term effects once long-term has passed. And unfortunately, like I said, you have to move with the information that you have available now. And enough time has passed with this. I mean, you can't expect for, if it took us, so long to say make a car in, the early 1900s, should it take the same amount of time to get a car off the assembly line today? No. It's the same thing with medicine. I mean, the same thing with making vaccines. The time that it takes for you to crank out a vaccine or to create a vaccine is not going to be the same today as it was when we first started, making vaccines. I mean, if you sit back and look at it in a logical manner, I mean, it's not that hard. It's really not. And I'm talking about looking at this from a layman's perspective, not a medical person's perspective. But I don't go and tell mechanics how to work on cars, and mechanics don't come and tell me how to work on people. And that's just the way it is, I mean, there has to be some trust in the system. It's getting crazy out here, y'all. But everybody be safe. I'll keep giving you information for you to make the best decision for you. I can't tell you what to do. I can make a suggestion based on my experience. And you make that decision, based on that. I will try to do something on the boosters because there's a lot of confusion about the boosters and it's not been done right as well. So I'll try to get to that as soon as possible. I'm going to do one on the virus, the vaccine and children. And we're going to talk. So you guys stick around, stick with me. And I appreciate the likes, shares, the contributions that people have made for me to try to keep getting this content out. And I apologize, y'all. Sometimes I have to take a week off because I'm working a whole lot. By the time I get in really late. That's why I usually post my videos after midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I try to crank out and do as much work as I can so that you guys can have the information, and I try to crank out 2 or 3 of them at a time so that I can kind of have them go out through the week, keep you guys informed, and we'll just try to keep doing what we're doing. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and again, thanks for hanging out. Please like, share, and subscribe.
You are listening to Abuki Cabal, the analytical savage.
I feel like a